You don't know me. You know the name. You know the smile. You don't know the pain. Everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got a version. Everybody thinks they understand the person standing in front of them. But assumptions are easy. Understanding is hard. And the distance between those two things can be miles apart. You see confidence, you don't see the doubts. You see the victories, you don't see the route. You see the moments that made it online. You don't see the nights I was losing my mind. You see composure, you don't see panic. You see the outcome, you don't see the damage. You see the surface, you don't see beneath it. You see the mask, you don't see the reason. Everybody judges based on fragments. A few conversations, a few interactions, a few observations, and suddenly believes they've solved the puzzle that took years to become me. If walls could talk, if silence had a voice, you'd realize there's a lot I never had the courage to say. You don't know me. You know what I allow you to see. You know selected chapters, not the entire story. You don't know me. You know the photograph, not the thousands of moments outside the frame. You don't know me, and maybe that's okay, because some battles happen far away from public view. I've carried conversations nobody remembers and replayed them for months afterward. I've turned mistakes into lifelong sentences, turned criticism into permanent evidence. I've questioned myself more times than I can count, built expectations so high I couldn't climb out, compare my life to impossible standards, then wondered why peace felt unfamiliar. People see movement and assume confidence. They see progress and assume certainty. But growth is messy and healing is complicated, and most of the time I'm figuring it out while living it. The loudest struggles rarely leave visible scars. That's what makes them difficult to explain. You don't know me. You know the edited version, the cleaned up memories, the rehearsed responses. You don't know me. You know the highlights, not the nights spent fighting with my own thoughts. You don't know me. You know the person I became, not the battles that shaped me along the way. Yeah, for a long time I wanted everybody's approval. Thought acceptance would finally make me whole. Thought if enough people understood me, the emptiness would disappear. But eventually I learned validation has limits, because even when people applaud, you still go home with yourself. Even when people admire you, you still hear your own thoughts. Even when people support you, you still carry your own history. And healing starts there, not in applause, not in attention, not in recognition, in honesty. The kind that's uncomfortable but necessary, the kind that asks difficult questions and waits for real answers. Maybe the goal was never to be understood by everyone. Maybe the goal was understanding myself. Maybe peace arrives when you stop performing and start accepting. Maybe freedom begins when authenticity becomes more important than approval. You don't know me, but I'm learning to know myself. Beyond expectations, beyond accomplishments, beyond fear. You don't know me, and neither did I for a very long time. But things are changing, you don't know me. Yet if you listen closely, you'll hear the truth between the lines. You'll hear the growth inside the struggle. You'll hear somebody refusing to quit. So if you think you figured me out based on a few moments, a few words, a few impressions, maybe you're seeing part of the picture, but not all of it. Because people are deeper than their appearance, more complicated in their reputation, and more human than their image. You don't know me. but neither does fear anymore. And that's progress. There's a version of me most people will never meet. Not because I'm hiding it, but because it's difficult to explain. How do you summarize years of internal conversations? How do you describe wounds that never left visible marks? How do you explain why certain songs hurt? Why certain places trigger memories? Why certain words carry more weight than they should? Some experiences change you quietly. No announcement, no warning, no dramatic scene, just a subtle shift that slowly alters everything. And one day you realize you're not the same person anymore. Growth doesn't always look inspiring. Sometimes it looks like survival. You don't know me. You see the present, you don't see the road that led me here. Oh, you don't know me. You see the person standing, you don't see every reason I almost gave up. You don't know me. Maybe that's alright, because understanding someone takes more than observation. I spent years trying to be what everybody expected. Reliable, strong, composed, capable. The person with answers, the person who can handle it. The person who never breaks, the person who keeps going. And eventually that expectation became a prison, because every time I struggled I felt guilty. Every time I needed help I felt weak. Every time I couldn't carry everything I felt like I was failing. Not because anyone said it, because I believed it. And beliefs can become cages if you never question them. Some people think healing means becoming someone new. I don't think that's true anymore. I think healing is remembering who you were before fear started making decisions, before insecurity became a narrator, before disappointment became an identity, before survival became a lifestyle. I think healing is returning to parts of yourself you abandoned while trying to protect yourself. The confidence, the curiosity, the hope, the trust, the things life convinced you were dangerous to keep. But maybe they weren't weaknesses, maybe they were strengths that got buried under too much pain. The hardest things to recover are often the things you never truly lost. You don't know me, you know the consequences. You don't know the causes, you know the reactions. You know the reasons, you know the behavior. You don't know the history. And history changes everything. There were moments nobody celebrated, decisions nobody noticed, victories nobody witnessed. Days where simply getting through was an accomplishment. Days where leaving bed required more courage than anyone realized. Days where silence felt heavy, days where motivation disappeared, days where hope felt distant, days where quitting sounded reasonable. Yet somehow I continued, not perfectly, not gracefully, not confidently, just consistently. One step, then another, until eventually distance replaced despair and movement created momentum. Maybe resilience isn't dramatic, maybe resilience is ordinary. Maybe it looks like showing up when nobody's watching. Maybe it sounds like trying again after countless disappointments. Maybe it feels like continuing without guarantees. Maybe strength is quieter than people think. I used to fear being misunderstood, now I fear misunderstanding myself, because the opinions of strangers only reach so far. But self-deception can shape an entire life. That's why I've started paying attention to the stories I tell myself, the labels, the assumptions, the limitations, the narratives, the excuses, the conclusions. Because not every thought deserves authority, not every fear deserves leadership, not every doubt deserves influence. Some deserve examination, some deserve challenge, some deserve replacement. And that process changed everything. The voice inside your head shouldn't always get the final vote. You don't know me, but I'm finally learning how to know myself without filters, without performances, without conditions. You don't know me, and neither do most people. But that's no longer the goal. The goal isn't universal understanding. The goal is honesty. The goal is growth. The goal is peace, the goal is becoming the person I was meant to be, without fear, making every decision. You don't know me, but for the first time, I'm beginning to understand myself, and that feels like freedom. Maybe that's the lesson. Not everyone will understand your journey. Not everyone will see your battles. Not everyone will recognize your growth, and that's okay. Some chapters are written privately, some victories happen quietly, some transformations occur invisibly. Not because they matter less, but because the personal, the strongest foundations are usually underground. The most important changes often happen out of sight. The deepest healing rarely announces itself. It simply appears one day in the way you think.